Introduction to Qwernomics. Qwernomics subcultures result from the legacy of the typewriter and its computational simulation, based upon the shift-locked code systems implicitly produced by the Scholz, or universal, QWERTY keyboard. Sketching the emergence and diffusion of the secret secretarial Qwernomics subculture within global techno-capitalism isolates a field of diagonal communication between anthropomorphic signs and the molecular traffic signals of the mutating machinic unconscious, outlining an anti-political semiotic pragmatism and godless cabalism consistent with what CCRU calls coincidence engineering. The emergence of technologically supported typewriting practices in the final decades of the 19th century coincided with a profound reconstruction of the global economic order, associated with an equally radical rearrangement of the concrete composition of the terrestrial machinic unconscious, at least in its anthropomorphic shallows. The interconnected explosions of modern corporate organization and endo-corporate bureaucracy, gendered office work, typographic information deposits, psychoanalysis, literary modernism, anglophone cabalism, cryptographic machinery, and mechanized computation all tracked the mass installation of typing skills into the human nervous system, in accordance with the QWERTY arrangement of the Scholz keyboard. The keyboard effected a twin digitization of language, both sealing its abstraction from the oral pneumatic apparatus into manual digital motor processes and decomposing it into discrete elements coded onto the keys of a finger-activated mechanism. In parallel, it redistributed the arbitrariness of the phonological sign into the key sequence of the new device according to principles that remain obscure, contested, and shrouded in myth. Once the Scholz distribution had techno-frozen and socially shift-locked into a resilient standard, the generalized assumption that QWERTY was predominantly arbitrary, quasi-randomly allocated, functioned to preemptively dissipate pattern-hunting semiotic inquiry. Challenges from alternative scientific keyboards were undermined by skepticism about the very idea of rational arrangement of the keys. In this respect, QWERTY conformed to a typical trend among ecumenic sign systems, with the sheer inertia of mass acceptance marginalizing analytical or reformist tendencies to a fringe of philosophical eccentricity, or even psychotic delusion. QWERTY thus exploited the mask of accident to construct a positive unconscious tropism or uninvestigated massive transmutation, the subliminal instantiation of a new cultural system. Of course, there may be nothing behind the mask. Conventional wisdom would accept no other conclusion, yet even in this case a large set of investigatable Qwernomic phenomena remain, consisting of QWERTY-induced coding patterns and potential surplus values, virtual sciences, subcultures, undercurrents, cryptographic methods, and partially coherent deliria. Such Qwernoma may be nothing other than the Kabbalistic materials of Azathoth, the blind idiot god, whose meaningless pipings lead all semiotic disciplines into the bubbling abyss of futile insanity. A true and dispassionate science, however, has no right or reason to be intimidated by such consequences. Only false, ideological science, serving as the fawning guardian of securocratic humanism, can justify a prejudice in favor of anthropomorphically acceptable outcomes. QWERTY has, in any case, long been accepted. The rest is destiny. Whilst the two-dimensional array of the standard Anglo-Spherian keyboard opens the potential for a variety of linear unfoldings, from the left, right, top, bottom, spirals, and equally diverging approaches to the inclusion of the number line, punctuation marks, function keys, the conventions of Neo-Roman textual organization, top, bottom, left, right, provide a key to a preliminary Quertian alphabet. QWERTY UIOPASDFGHJKLZXCVBNM. If, at least provisionally, this linearization and selection is accepted, each letter is recoded as the difference between two ordinal values. Pattern can be extracted from these twin orderings in a huge variety of ways. One approach involves the adoption of a Kabbalistic procedure belonging conceptually to combinatorial arithmetic. Consider the typical problem. Given an alphabet of length n, how many non-repeating two-letter combinations are possible? The arithmetical formula for resolving this problem is n times n minus 1 over 2, coinciding with the operation of digital or triangular cumulation of n minus 1. Digital cumulation is second only to digital reduction as a Kabbalistic tool explicitly esteemed, at least since Pythagoras. Pascal's triangle can be used to expand this combinatorial analysis to higher levels. As an illustration, take only the first 4 letters of the Neo-Roman alphabet. To produce a matrix of binary combinations, order is employed as a procedural criterion, automatically excluding redundant combinations. Thus, A combines with B, C, and D, and B combines with C and D, C combines with D. Arithmetical confirmation is, of course, easily obtained. 3 plus 2 plus 1 equals 6, equivalent to the digital cumulation of 4 minus 1 equals 3, and to 4 times 3 over 2. If non-repeating combinations of any length are permitted from an alphabet of length n, the formula for the number of combination is 2 to the nth power minus 1. Mersenne numbers, including an intriguing set of primes. Oh, there's a train coming. The entire virtual vocabulary of non-repeating, non-anagrammatic Neo-Roman words is thus 2 to the 26th minus 1, or m26. As a consequence of this procedure, all the terms making up a well-formed combinatorial vocabulary will be internally structured by an ordering principle drawn directly from the alphabet in question. Returning to the Kabbalistic analysis of coercion and applying these procedures restrictively, yet again, there are quite obvious alternatives ignored here, leads to the virtual, or even actual, sadly I've done this many times, compilation of an alpha Qwernomic language, consisting of those combinations consistent with parallel applications of the previously elaborated criteria. For instance, AE, permitted in Neo-Roman, is now excluded due to the inverse ordering found in the quotient sequence. It might be noted at this point that the familiarity of the quotient middle row letter sequence, A, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, immediately ensures a prominent region of resonance, while the bottom row hints strongly at a reverse folding. However, such quartotectonic issues exceed the scope of this introduction. Resulting from an intricate interference pattern, the scope of the alpha quotient vocabulary is radically empirical, in the sense that it derives from the fact of the Scholes keyboard, the logic of which, if such a thing exists at all, remains utterly obscure. It would be exceedingly surprising if an arithmetical formula of manageable complexity were able to usefully contribute to its estimation. The alpha quotient dictionary has both alphabetical and quotient versions, with identical content but alternative ordering arrangements. Prioritizing the alphabet, out of courtesy to our gracious ecumenical hosts, gives the initial entries A, AB, ABM, ABN, AC, ACM, ACN, ACV. It is procedurally productive to understand this vocabulary as a system of envelopments, as if each term was involuting into itself in accordance with a non-metric ordinal sequence appropriate to intensities. One tool facilitating this approach requires the articulation of the two series, with the second inverted. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, M, N, B. V, C, X, Z, L, K, J, H, G, F, D, S, A, P, O, I, U, Y, T, R, E, W, Q. Or its mirror image, QWERTY, UIO, PAS, DF, GH, JK, LZ, X, CV, BNM, ZY, XW, VU, TSR, QPON, MLK, JIH, GFE, DCBA. Pragmatically appropriate to the quotient version of the alpha quotient dictionary. If the twin instances of the same letter are treated as marking the perimeter of a circle, the overall pattern of envelopments is exactly charted. One can see immediately, for instance, that both instances of the letter B fall within the circle described by A in its twin instantiations. B is thus enveloped by A, making AB a consistent combination. Systems of concentric circles correspond to tolerated alpha quotient constructions. A complete alpha quotient dictionary is actually quite short. But as to its potential usage, can't seriously expect anyone to get further than this, so I better stop. Posted by Nick at December 23rd, 2004, 12:12 p.m. That's not in the book. The original article, or at least the one on hypestation.abstractdynamics.org that I'm looking at, begins with the following two sentences in square brackets. While foaming, bubbling, mumbo-jumbo reigns, this post is based upon the abstract for an as-yet virtual essay that would be part of a CCRU collection. Obviously interested in any feedback.